This is Devices Episode 2, Resolve Tips and Tricks I Use All the Time. Now, there's a bunch of great new features in Resolve 19. However, this video isn't about the Magic Mask, Film Look Creator, Speed Warp, bin syncing, or awesome new codec advancements. It's about the small, nuanced tips that I've been using for years. DaVinci Resolve is a post-production powerhouse, no matter the version. There's lots of ways to do things, and lots of neat under-the-hood ways of being more efficient. This is all your vices, all your devices. Now don't forget to stick around to the end of the video where I've saved the best for last. This is Devices Episode 2, Resolve Tips and Tricks I Use All the Time. Okay, so one I've got for you here is the common LUT folder. One thing I have to deal with in my day job is moving from machine to machine and keeping all those machines acting the same. There's also a bunch of people working on the same project that have to have that project acting the same between each station. And they all need to have the same files accessible. We use centralized storage to keep all our media in one place, and DaVinci Resolve Project Server to keep all the projects in place. That's where a common LUT folder comes in. If you're familiar with LUTs, you'll know that there's a bunch of them for every camera and every color space. So I make a symlink, which is a little bit different than just having an alias to a file. And that symlink references a common LUT folder on shared storage that everybody's machine can mount and have access to those same LUTs. Each machine will think that it's local, and this one has a bit of a terminal action in it, but it's not bad. All right, and here we go, over to the Finder. Now I'm going to have a couple of folders to reference here. One is going to be our source, where all the LUTs are kept on our centralized storage, in this case, a network drive, and we're going to have our local folder. Now what we're going to do is make a link between that common folder that everybody can access and my local machine. DaVinci Resolve likes to have its LUT folder a little bit deep in the file system. Okay, so over in the Finder, here we go. We have this common elements folder, okay? This, among other things, has a LUT folder, which is where we centrally keep all of our LUTs. What we're going to do is we're going to make an alias from this LUT folder to where DaVinci Resolve likes to have its LUT folder, which is your hard drive, library, application support, Blackmagic Design, DaVinci Resolve, LUT. Safety first. The first thing you should do is not have DaVinci Resolve running when you do this. We're going to go and make a safe backup version of this folder. So now we're going to rename this backup, whatever works for you. Okay. Now, again, with DaVinci Resolve quit and us making that backup LUT folder, now is where we're going to go over to the terminal. Don't be intimidated by the terminal. This command is pretty easy and we'll walk right through it. Now we have our prompt in terminal. We're going to say link ln-s and a space. Now what that's going to do is link and then the flag, which is after the dash, you call it a flag, an S for symbolic link. Now that's just a little bit stronger than an alias, okay? Now what we do is we put source, then destination. So now our source is going to be that common LUT folder. Okay, so we're over here in our common elements shared drive. We're grabbing our LUT folder. We're just dropping that in. We don't have to type all of the jibbery-gook. It automatically knows now to put a space after that, so we don't have to do that, but make sure that it has it just in case. We're going over here to our LUT backup folder and going up one level from that, because this is where we want it to show up, is within the DaVinci Resolve folder as our destination. Again, to reiterate, we have a link symbolically from this folder to that folder. Watch what happens when in the Finder over here, what happens when I hit enter. Pop, we now have a LUT folder that is the same as our shared folder. So if we make a new folder, say here in this dailies folder, we leave it untitled because we're not going to keep it. On the shared common elements drive, we can go over here to our LUT folder locally in our library, application support, Blackmagic Design, DaVinci Resolve, told you it was a little bit buried. LUT folder, look in our dailies, and we have that untitled folder on a network drive. It knows that we've now hopped over the line here, right? And we've got our symbolic link that actually does show us where we are. As soon as we click away, it knows we're back out to the file system. If you click in here, it will know you are actually on that common elements drive. So that's why it's a little bit different than using just an alias. If you're trying to fool an application to think it knows where it's looking, this is what you do. Now, I'll show you in DaVinci Resolve how to open your LUT folder. Okay, and I'm just going to load this up in one of my any old project. It doesn't matter. Let's go with episode 1. Now we're going to come down to the gear for the project settings. And then we're going to go to color management and scroll down. And here is our LUT folder. It will take us right to that LUT folder. So that's how you get to your LUT folder from within DaVinci Resolve. Moving on, let's look at the next tips and tricks I use all the time on DaVinci Resolve. This one is to disable and enable clips on the timeline. So now let's go into our any old timeline here. It's super handy. Lots of times on the timeline, you'll need to compare two clips, maybe even an entire movie when you're doing a QC or a conform, for example. Sometimes you may want to have more clips than you need while you try to decide on which to use, stacking up versions. In these cases, it may be very advantageous to quickly turn off or on a clip, and that comes with the letter D. Let's take a look. Over in Resolve, here I am staring at my own mug, but if I don't want to anymore, I could just simply hide it. And there we are back to the desktop, which is the other clip here. And it toggles. Just keep hitting D. Here's another one where I have me, my frame, and my desktop. Here we go. My desktop, bye-bye. It will take whatever is highlighted on your timeline and toggle the visibility on or off. It will stay there. You can still edit it, move it around, and all of those things, but you can just see down through it. If you don't want to see, maybe I don't want to see me and my frame at all. I just want my desktop. A lot of times what conform artists will do is they'll throw down a QuickTime against the top of the whole timeline that is supposed to be the way the show looks from editorial. When we're in conform, we're changing a lot of things and really getting it ready to do color correction. We're switching from low res to high res files, a whole bunch of things like that. And we want to make sure that nothing changes from the editorial gold standard of what the show should look like. Okay? So we don't want to miss any pushes, any pulls, any reframing, any time changes, any speed ramps, anything like that. So, okay, moving on to the next tips and tricks that I use all the time. This one is add into media pool with the bins. It will use your Finder organization to a point within DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve with version 19, though, added an awesome feature to sync the Finder to your media bins. There's a few specific ways that you have to engage this feature to find it in your Resolve media pool. But it all starts with this simple point. When you import into your media pool, use the add into media pool with bins. And here's what that looks like. Okay, over in Resolve, we're going to head to the media page and we're going to go, and here we have a list of all the drives attached. There's our devices. I'm going to add this graphics in. Okay, so we're going to right click and we're going to say add folder and subfolders into media pool and create bins. This will, and you'll see in the Finder, that's a pretty deep folder hierarchy on my system. Okay, I've organized that pretty tightly, and I want to bring that all forward into the project that I'm going to need all that organization as well. When we click here, but if we look at the master, now we have that graphics folder, and we go in here, and now we can go in here, and I'll go frame, look, there, we can go down through the logos, there's all these different ones, And it's kept that folder structure the same between the source and the destination. So now all that Finder organization you've done to prep for your project, boom, here you go. That's add folder and subfolders into the media pool and create bins. Moving on. Now, smart bins are really cool, and power bins for that matter. A lot of the behaviors of the media pool in DaVinci Resolve is much like the list view in macOS. You can get a little lost though. I really like column view, and I really do wish there was a column view in there somewhere. However, smart bins to the rescue. They can be a bastion of sanity when you're trying to find that one thing. Let's head on over to the preferences in DaVinci Resolve. Or if you like keystrokes, that's Command and comma. Most every application that is worth its weight in salt uses Command comma to get to their preferences. Here we are. Now we're going to go down to the User tab. It usually defaults to System. We're going to go over to User, and we're going to come down to Editing. And then if we look for Smart Bin for timelines, Automatic Smart Bins for keywords, Automatic Smart Bins for collections, which is sets that you can actually do yourself down here, okay? Automatic bins for people metadata. That one I don't use too much, but it can be handy. A lot of scripted shows might have the characters in the metadata of the show. So automatic smart bins for shot metadata as to what shot you're on, and automatic smart bins for scene metadata. That's coming from camera, so that can be kind of handy too. If you have good communication with your production team and what they're going to tag and flag in their metadata on camera, but a lot of times you won't get much out of that camera. They're running and gunning, as it were, on set and don't have a lot of time to enter this kind of thing. But if they do, it can be a great tool for you to use as an editor in DaVinci Resolve. So what that does, when you enable those, that gives you down here, we can now have all of our timelines in one smart bin. We have all of our keywords, which I don't use, so it's kind of empty right now. We have also collections of video clips, types of things, uncategorized is in everything. You just want to look at your audio. There you go. You don't have to go digging around in your bins. Now, as you can see, if you're in one window here, this can get a little bit tight, but you can always have your master and your back here. You don't have to go hunting around to find your audio folder if you accidentally put some audio in your title cards as well, right? You could just come down, have your collections, hit the audio only, and there's all of your audio. You don't have to hope and pray that someday they're going to add column view to DaVinci Resolve. Moving on, here's our next one of tips and tricks I use all the time. Templates. As my day job is working in a post facility, I have to be consistent. However, I'm not a machine, and templates to the rescue. There's lots of places you can save templates. You could even save a project as a template with everything under the hood, in case you need to move to a new machine or the zombie apocalypse. Delivery templates is one that is absolutely necessary for consistency. Okay, so over here in the deliver page, we are going to go here and save as new preset. Now, right now, it's set to do an MP4 H.264, 1920 by 1080, 23976, 10,000 kilobit per second, and we're going to render out the whole show. And that's going to be a ProRes 4444. We want a 23976. We don't want to bother with alpha. Now we're going to save as a new preset. And there we go. We have our new one. Now, if we want to do an H.264 master and save that as a new preset, there we go. Now notice we have this little triangle here with more than one of those templates that we can switch everything back to. Consistency is key. If we want to go and import one, let's go ahead and do that. Import a preset. I have some saved on my Common Elements drive. Let's go ahead and make some EXRs for VFX. Now I've imported that one, and I also have that here. So now I can switch between H.264, I can do the ProRes, or I could make EXRs for the VFX department, right? Like that, boom, boom, boom. And I know It's the same as I gave him last time. And if there was no issues then, there won't be any issues this time. It's a great way to do consistent deliveries. Now, here's another cool one. This is the data burn. Again, for most shows, you're going to end up making screener copies for people to review of different cuts, different versions, maybe even just different scenes. You're going to maybe need to have the time code burn on that. You're going to maybe need to have, a watermark. Okay, so we go down to the data burn in under workspaces. We'll bring up our data burn in window. Okay, now we can say we want the record time code, and there it is on the screen. We can say if we want the source time code, maybe, and there we go. And then we have both of those on the screen over here. Now, if we want, we can take those two and we can have save as a new preset. We're going to say TJ Mac Basic. And now what you'll see is we have TJ Mac Basic. We can load it. We can update it. Say if something changes later on, we need the real name to be on there as well. Okay. Well, now we can update the preset. And now if we undo that, so now we have no real name and we want to load this one, back comes the real name. It's a real good way to stay consistent with your data burn-ins. Okay, so moving on to the next one now. These are tips that I use all the time. This one is super handy again, and it's one that the default isn't right. A lot of cameras have really long file names, especially in professional cameras. They carry a lot of detail in those file names that is necessary. So what you end up doing is just searching for the whole string because it's too long to really manually go around and look for it. Here we are in the media page. We're going to go up here. We're going to look at that search. Now, if I search here, YouTube, I don't get anything. No search results. I could have sworn I had something related to YouTube in there. Look here at this search icon. A little arrow beside it. We'll pull that down. It's only searching the selected bin by default. You switch that to all bins. Oh, bam! Look at that. It will search your entire project and actually deliver you some results. If you're in the bin that you know where the thing is, why are you searching for it? All bins should be the default. When you hit search to look through for anything in your media bins, the default behavior will be to search only that bin. I always search all bins, but if you quit Resolve and come back, it defaults back again. When you're searching, always make sure to choose search all bins. It will save your life and a lot of frustration. Here we are at the last one. Now, I promised a little bit off the bat that I would save the best for last, and here we are. This is the percent hack. In the edit page of DaVinci Resolve, we're going to click on the inspector. That's going to bring up all of this stuff. But if we go over here to File, again, with my day job, I do some VFX work. This usually involves me taking shots and exporting them so that VFX artists can work with them. That usually involves an image sequence of some sort. They like to work frame by frame by frame. Naming these can be either super fun, sarcastic, or it can be super easy. In certain areas in DaVinci Resolve, if you type the percentage sign, you enter a sublayer of Resolve that not many people are familiar with or even aware of. You can pipe in the name of any other metadata field into a text field. It's hard to describe, but you'll get it when you see it. Let's dive in. So here we are in the inspector in the edit page, okay? And we're going to look and we're going to say, okay, this name, we want that me cam 1 to be the name of the whole show. So that's name. We're going to say that is the name, okay? We're going to come over to the deliver page. And here in our outputs, we're going to type percentage name. In this case, that's clip name from that field. And I know that because I've used it so much. If we go back over here and change this me cam 1 to be anything else, it will just happen to be the file name. So let's take this one clip here. We're going to take that clip. We're going to export it. And we're going to render that one clip out. Should go pretty quick. Now, if we come out to our desktop, there we are. In this case, it took the desk cam. Desktop cam 2 was the clip name. There you have it. It named the whole image sequence by its frames but with the Desktop Cam 2 name. Really handy way to be consistent again with your naming and coming out of DaVinci Resolve. You can use that in a bunch of different places when you're piping things around and you want to rename something else based on the name of another metadata field. Comes in super handy, especially over in the deliver page, but you can use it in other metadata fields if you are trying to use metadata in a bunch of different ways. Super handy. I really like that one. Comes in great. Stays with your presets in the deliver page as well. So you can bake that in and it can always be part of your workflows. And that's it for this episode of Devices. I'm TJ Mack, and if you have any questions or tips that you'd like to see me tackle or expand on, let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Keep the dream alive. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.